Chinese brands, this and that, warawara, washawacima, vutamalangab. People have opinions in everything. I won't buy a brand from China because of car parts and because their reliability is untested. Well, that's why I'm here. I will test the reliability you're talking about for you. And as far as I'm concerned, a car is as good as you treat it. Unless you've been living under a rock, it's difficult to ignore these Chinese brands, particularly Chery and Haval. They're both in the top-selling car brands in the country, but I'm not here to talk about these brands. I'm here to talk about my Tigo 4 Pro. This is just an update about my ownership of this car. I will share with you some of the things I like and some of the things I don't like about this car. To make sure you don't miss anything, just stick around until the end of this video. So without further ado, welcome to Cars 24 and welcome to this video. The Tigo 4 Pro has a 5-year or 60,000 kilometer service plan, and I've already done the 5,000 kilometers and 15,000 kilometer service, which means I'm left with 3 services before my service plan is exhausted. I'm currently sitting at around 16,000 something kilometers on my clock, and to be fair, we have treated each other kindly with Blake. If you want a full in-depth review of this car, just click on this pop-out banner or follow the link in the description. Now, to avoid complicating your life, whether you are buying a brand new car or a used one, a service plan is always important, especially if you are planning to keep a car for much longer. Imagine having to pay for a service from your own pocket. This is even worse when buying a used car. I usually see people buying used VW Polo TSI, and all they care about is how much is it and how many kilometers does it have, forgetting to ask how many times has the car been serviced, or has it been serviced at all. This gives you an estimate of the condition of the car. Worse in the case of a Polo because it has a 3-year service plan, and most of the time, people tend to sell their cars after 3 years, meaning if you are buying that used car, its service plan would have been exhausted unless it was extended. So you should be careful with this. Let's start with the things I don't like about this car. Number 1, the fuel consumption. This car has a CVT gearbox, and I'm currently averaging around 9 liters per 100 kilometers. And that's very high if you consider that some cars are averaging around 4 to 6 liters per 100 kilometers. I've tried to drive like an old man, but I always find myself around 9 liters per 100. Most people will view this as a reason not to buy this car, and to be fair, it will be an understandable reason. But I think what you're getting with this Tigo outweighs the fuel problem in my opinion. Number 2, you get a lot of noise coming from the back, particularly the number plate. They made it loose, so when you're riding on rough surfaces, you end up with an annoying sound coming from this. If anyone has a solution to this, please share on the comment section below. When I was driving the Mazda CX-30, I used to hear a lot of noise coming from the dashboard, and that was annoying. Luckily, it's not the same case with this Chery. While in the topic of wind sounds, my number 3 of the things I don't like about this car is the insulation. You get a bit of wind noise at highway speed, but it's not as bad as in the Mitsubishi ASX, which I recently reviewed. And you can solve this problem by playing music. Simple. The other problem is tire noise at highway speed, which is expected in a big car like this. Number 4 is the lack of, or let me just say the absence of cup holders in this car. This is a problem that needs addressing. I don't know how many times I've spilled my watermelon McFizzy in this car because I don't have any cup holders. This collar box thingy here doesn't really work for me. Chery needs to do something about this. If I can give you one advice you should take when driving this car, is never approach a bend or a corner at 50 kilometers per hour or above, because you'll find yourself in casualty, or even worse. You get a lot of body roll in this car. It's not agile on corners. You find yourself twisting and turning. So there you have it. These are my top 5 things I don't like about the Tigo 4 Pro. It's not bad though, because there's plenty I like about this car. Here are my top 5. Number 1 is obviously the overall design of this car, particularly in this color. I find the undercolors pretty boring. I like the design of this car from every angle, but I still think the headlights look like a cockroach, but I've grown to love them. Number 2, I like this infotainment screen and instrument cluster. Fully digital and the displays are very good. The instrument cluster has every information you need when driving, and this infotainment screen is positioned right in the middle of this dashboard. and it's easy to access when driving. I really like the interior cabin of this car. My number 3 is the engine of this car, which is a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. It produces 108 kilowatts and 210 newton meters of torque. It's quick and quiet on the road. It will start making some noise around 3000 rpm. This is me accelerating on a steep hill, and it does this effortlessly. I love it. And number 4 is the remote start system, which is useful and it's one feature I use almost all the time. I like it because it makes the engine warm up quickly. It's most useful especially in winter. And I also like seeing people looking confused after starting the engine from the distance. Last but not least is the practicality of this car. Space is not a problem at all. At the back, you have enough space, 3 normal sized passenger seats comfortably. And the boot space is wide enough and also flat, making loading up your luggage a walk in the park. So yes, in my opinion, the Tigo 4 Pro can be used as a family car as well because of its practicality. The voice control system is effective. It usually gets it right most of the time, but I don't usually use this system. It's my least favorite feature of this car.
Open sunroof.
Got it. It's opening.
Close the sunroof.
Okay, I'll close the sunroof.
So yeah, these are my top 5 things I like about the Chery Tiggo 4 Pro. But before we end this video, let me tell you about my cost of ownership. After the recent repo rate hikes, my monthly installment is currently sitting at 7,258 rands. That's an increase of 446 rands from my first installment. I pay around 1,794 rands per month for my comprehensive insurance cover, and I budget around 2,200 for fuel. This takes my monthly cost of ownership to around 11,250 rands per month. Now, what's my current verdict of this car so far? This is not a perfect car. There's no perfect car anyways. It has its own problems like its fuel consumption rate, but there are many features that makes up for this. So far for me, if I were to buy another car, I would make the same decision trading my CX-30 for this Tigo 4 Pro. So that's it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, you know what to do. Your support is highly appreciated. We'll meet again on our next video. Until next time, peace.